In this video, we will discuss the two major contents of inferential procedures. One of them is estimating population mean by point estimation and estimation of population mean by interval estimation. Our discussion about the inferential procedures were started by we have a population, we are interested in population parameters we are interested in, and this parameter can be obtained by conducting census, which is impractical. Suppose this is my population, and from this population, I am interested in a parameter like population mean, or I may be interested in the population variance or population correlation rho or population proportion P. These are the four parameters that we are discussing from lecture number 1 up to now. These parameters can be calculated by census, but this is not a practical procedures in inferential statistics. We have not to conduct the census because census is not feasible in most of the cases. We have to select a sample. It is a sample, and from this sample we have to obtain a statistic. From this statistics, we have to estimate the population parameter. Either we can estimate the mu or we can estimate the variance. So there are the two ways of estimation. One of them is known as point estimation and other of them is called interval estimation. So this is basically the major discussion under this video lecture. In this chapter, it is chapter number 8, a specific topic of estimating mean will be under consideration. A common problem in statistics to obtain the information about the population mean. Suppose the mean age of people in a civilian force. We are interested to estimate that average age, or we may be interested to obtain average price of income tax paid by the customers in 2019. So the average amount paid by the income taxpayer, we are interested in that. So either we can, if we have population, we can have the direct value of mu. If we do not have a population, so we can work on sample. So we have to select a random sample of size n. From this random sample, we have to calculate the statistic x bar. From this statistic, we have to infer the population parameter mu. We have to estimate the population parameter mu with the help of this x bar. This is the concept under this presentation. Why census is not used generally and inferential estimation procedure is preferred over finding the direct value of the parameter, because in census we need lot of money, we need lot of time, and sometimes it is impractical. Suppose we are interested to estimate the effect of a medicine on the patients. So we cannot apply the medicine to the all patients of that specific disease in the world, because if this medicine is harmful, then it will affect on the entire population. So instead of that, we have to test the medicine by a specific sample, not by census. So in the many cases, census is not practical and census is not feasible. So we prefer to use the inferential procedures by taking sample from the population and then taking decision about the population parameter with the help of the information obtained from this sample. There are the two types of estimates. One of them is known as point estimate. Point estimate is a single value. Parameter is represented with the help of a single value and a single element chosen from a sampling distribution. It conveys little information about the actual value of the population parameter, about the accuracy of the estimate. While confidence interval is another way of representing the estimate. And here we have a range of values. This range will be computed with the help of statistics. And this range is known as interval estimate. I am giving you a very simple example of this. Suppose the average height of a student in a institute is 5.25. This is the value of parameter. But this value is, if this value is not directly available, then I will select a sample. From that sample, I have estimated the population mean. By that sample, I move to the point, the average height is 5.37 feet. This is estimate. This estimate is obtained from sample while I was talking about the actual value of parameter. So this is the estimated value of parameter known as a point estimate. This is the actual value of parameter. If I conducted the census, then this value will be obtained. So this value is not directly available in this example because all the students, we do not have the data of the height of the all students studying in an institution. So that is why we are interested in a point estimate. So I have selected a random sample. From that sample, I have calculated the sample mean, which is a statistic. From that sample mean, I am going to obtain a single value of that population parameter, which is mu. So this population parameter mu is nothing. In simple, we can say that the sample mean will be used as an estimate of population mean. Sample mean will be used as a point estimate of the population mean. In a confidence interval, we have a range of values. This is again obtained from a sample, but in this case, the procedure will be discussed later on in this presentation, okay, how this interval will be obtained. But in this interval, we are saying that the height will be in between the 5 and 5.5 feet. So this is known as confidence interval. It has a high precision as compared to the point estimate. This interval estimate is obtained actually by using the point estimate. The point estimate is the first step to have a in confidence interval CI. We generally use the term CI for it, confidence interval. To obtain a confidence interval, this is the second step. The first step is what? Obtain a point estimate like this. From this point estimate, we have to construct a confidence interval by a specific formula to be discussed in this presentation. Point estimate of a parameter is a value of a statistics used to estimate the parameter. So the statistic is used as a point estimate. In a simple example, if we are interested to obtain the population mean mu, so do not use mu here, use mu cap, which to represent the estimate. Mu cap is the X bar. So just calculate the sample mean and use sample mean as a point estimate of population mean. If someone interested as a point estimate of population variance, sample variance can be used in replacement of that. If population correlation is unknown, so we can use sample correlation as a estimate. The correlation is represented, population correlation is represented by rho and sample correlation is represented by R. Finally, if population proportion is unknown, then sample proportion can be used as a point estimate of the population proportion. So it's a very simple concept. You have just to draw a random sample from the population and calculate the respective statistics. That statistics can be used as a point estimate of the relevant parameter. Sample standard deviation. It is not variance, it is sample standard deviation can be used as a unbiased estimate of the population standard deviation. So this is the very simple concept of point estimation. You have to do nothing just to calculate a statistics from the sample. Interval estimation is another concept. In interval estimation, we have a range initially started by, which is represented by mu cap, is an estimated value of population mean. That mu cap will be from the two numbers. One number, I am suppose it is A, it is B. So what we have to do in interval estimation or in confidence interval is, we can use the term confidence interval for it. We have to just obtain these two numbers. One is A, which is the lower limit of the confidence interval, and the B, which is the upper limit. How can we find this value of the upper limit and how can we find this value of lower limit? This is to be described in the next slide. In this example, the information about the new mobile homes is given. The figures given on the next slide is a value of a random sample, not from a census. It means we do not have the values or the prices of all elements in our population. We have only just 30 prices of the 36 new mobile homes. This 36 value, these 36 values are obtained from the entire population randomly. So the randomly selected 36 mobile homes prices are given on the next table. Yeah, in what we are interested? We are interested in the estimate of the population mean, mu. And we are interested in the estimate of population standard deviation. We are interested in the point estimate, not in interval estimate. The point estimate is a focus here in this example. This data is given to us. These are the prices in thousands of dollars. This is not 67.8. This is basically $67800. So these are the 36 prices of new homes manufactured by a company, and we are interested to obtain an estimate of the population mean mu. The point estimate of population mean can be obtained by simple calculating the mean of this sample. The mean of this sample will be X bar, and the point estimate of population standard deviation can be obtained by S, sample standard deviation. This is the standard deviation of one sample. This is the standard deviation of this sample mean. 63.27 thousands of dollar. Unit should be there. Dollar thousands. 1,000. And this is the standard deviation of one sample. This is basically S. This is the value of X bar, which is computed from this sample. And this is the value of standard deviation, sample standard deviation, which is calculated from this sample. The sample mean, you can see here, sample mean is a point estimate of population mean mu, and the sample standard deviation is a point estimate of population standard deviation. In simple, we can write down mu cap is equal x bar, and S is a point estimate of sigma, which is a parameter mu. The parameter mu is can be estimated by sample mean. And these are the 2 points, well known and well widely used point estimates. There are the several characteristics of point estimates. One of them is an unbiased estimate. Unbiased estimate is a characteristic that can be defined as if we draw all samples from a population. This is population, this is one sample, this is another sample, this is another sample. Suppose we are interested in all possible samples. These are the all possible samples. The mean of the first sample is computed, the mean of the last sample is computed. If we have computed the mean of these means, or we can say that if we computed the mean of the sampling distribution of mean, it should be equal to the population mean. This characteristic is known as sample mean is a point estimate of population mean, and this estimate is known as unbiased estimator. The unbiased estimator is that if we computed the mean of the all means and that mean is equal to the population mean, we can call it as unbiased estimator. Suppose we have to check whether the S is unbiased estimator of sigma, then very simple it is. We have to calculate the expected value of all S. If that expected value is equal to the standard deviation of population, then we can call it as S is the unbiased estimator of population standard deviation. So unbiasedness is a very important characteristic of estimation. Here you can see that population variance, an unbiased estimate of population variance is the sample variance. Some common point estimate as previously described. Sample mean is a point estimate of population mean. Sample variance is a point estimate of population variance, and sample proportion is a point estimate of population proportion. Now we are switching to the concept of interval estimation, how interval estimates are obtained from the central limit theorem, in which we studied X bar follows approximately normal distribution, whether the population is normal or not normal. Then when n is large. So if your sample size is large, which is more than 30, you can use central limit theorem. And for a central limit theorem, the Z statistics will be this. This is the Z statistics, and in this Z statistics, we are going to find out the confidence interval. To obtain a formula of interval estimate, we have to use this Z score. According to this Z score, if we isolate mu from this expression, then this will give us a basis for obtaining the interval estimate. If we are going to estimate the sample size, this formula will give us an estimate of the sample size. Just isolate or take sample size at once on one side and transfer each and everything on the other side. We will have another formula. That formula is used for estimating the sample size. If we are interested to estimate the margin of error, margin of error or sampling error. Then isolate x bar minus mu on one side and take this as a cross product of z. So this is the procedure of forming the formula for interval estimation. So I am going to describe the first case. This is basically the taking mu on one side and all the rest of the things to the left side. So firstly, you have to find out the margin of error. Margin of error can be find out how. This is just cross product of this. So x bar minus mu is equal to z times sigma upon n root. And all of you are already familiar with that. Sigma upon n root is known as standard error. So this is margin of error, which is we have on the left side, margin of error, or we can call it as a sampling error. This is sampling error or the margin of error. And what this is, sigma upon n root is a standard error. So if we multiply the value of z, z will be obtained from the z table. So we have to first obtain the a value from the z table, multiply the value of z table with this standard error, the product will be the margin of error. If I am interested in mu, to estimate population parameter mu in the interval form, we have to isolate this mu. So yeah, I took mu on the right side and z times standard error on the left side. We will have a formula of mu. So mu is equal to x bar minus z times sigma upon n root. This is the one value of the population parameter. Because this is obtained from the sample mean, which is a point estimate. X bar is what? X bar is a point estimate. Z is what? This is the value from the Z table. Sigma upon n root is what? Is a standard error. So after subtraction, we will have a lower limit of this point interval estimate. The lower limit of this point interval estimate can be obtained. As Z is a symmetrical distribution, it has a negative value as well as it has a positive value. If Z has a negative value, then this minus will becomes positive. So second value of interval can be obtained how? Second value of interval can be obtained as mu lies between x bar minus z times sigma upon n root. This is the lower limit of this interval, and upper limit of this interval can be obtained by x bar plus z times sigma upon n root. This interval is known as confidence interval. This interval is known as confidence interval for mu. Mu is what? Population mean. Confidence interval of mu, which is the population parameter mu. This is the way of computing. I'm repeating it. X bar is what? X bar is the point estimate. Z is what? Z is a value from the Z table. It depends. If we are constructing 95% confidence interval, the Z 0.05 will be used. If we are interested to compute the confidence interval, 99% confidence interval, then 0.01 will be used. The value of 0.01 from the negative side as well as from positive side, and sigma upon n root is what? Is a standard error. You have already learned standard error in the previous recorded lecture. So this is the way how the interval estimation is calculated. If we are interested in number 2, which is a sample size, so we have to cross multiply from the margin of error. We can have n. So we have to, n can be written as under root n is equal to Z sigma, Z times sigma divided by what? Margin of error, which is X bar minus mu. So this is the way of computing an estimate of sample size. So sample size can be estimated in this ways. And this, if I take the square on the both sides, then instead of n, we have, then instead of under root n, we have square of this and square of this. So this is the estimated value of sample size number 2. So now I have developed all the three formulas. One is the formula of interval estimate that I have constructed by using this Z-score. Then we have a sample size estimate can be obtained from this formula by just cross multiplying it and isolating the n. And margin of error can also be computed. This is a very generalized formula. With the help of this generalized formula, we can have all the three expressions. Now on this slide, we have a complete procedure of finding the confidence interval. So if we are interested in finding the 1 minus alpha level of confidence, suppose we are interested in 95% confidence interval, your alpha will be 5%. Alpha is what? Alpha is the level of significance. If we are interested to find out the confidence interval for 90%, your alpha will be 10%. So alpha by 2 will be used because we have the both sides. So you can see here the two limits as I derived in the previous slide, the lower limit of the confidence interval and the upper limit of the confidence interval. So you can see these two limits on the previous slide. This is the lower limit of the confidence interval. This is the upper limit of the confidence interval. These two numbers will be written here. In simple, we can write down these two limits as X bar plus minus. Plus minus means to obtain the lower limit, you have to subtract. To obtain the upper limit, you have to add. Z alpha by 2 multiply by standard error sigma upon n root. This is the simplified version of this confidence interval. So you can obtain the, in this way, you can obtain this two limits of the confidence interval. These are the three steps for finding the confidence interval, and these are the three assumptions. To apply this procedure, which I labeled as E1. E stands for the estimation procedure number 1. This is confidence interval estimation procedure number 1. You should have to check the assumption first. The first assumption is your sample should be random and all element in the population having the same probability. So this is the same probability or the equal probability random sample. Your population is normal or your sample is large, because in central limit theorem, we learn for a large sample size, the sampling distribution of mean will be normal. It means this formula can only be used either in central limit theorem or a formula or a theorem given above the central limit theorem in the previous presentation of the sampling distribution. Another thing which is very important here is sigma known. Sigma is what? Sigma is population standard deviation. If the population standard deviation is known, then we can obtain these two intervals, which is the lower value of the confidence interval and the upper value of the confidence. So you should have to first check the assumption on the data. If the data fulfill these three assumptions, then apply these three steps for obtaining confidence interval. This is the first presentation in the estimation procedure, and then we will cover the few example and exercise in the next recording.